Thanks for watching, everybody. We're in Grand Traverse County at the Maple Bay Farm, just off of US 31. With me is another Vic Lane, Senior Conservation Project Manager or Land Steward. You were telling me that's kind of a more apt description.
Yeah, I do all sorts of things for the Land Conservancy, but most of it has to do with land stewardship and farmland stewardship.
All right, I want to talk about what's going on in September with regards to you guys in Crosshatch, but quickly, if you could just give us a 25-second explanation for people who don't know what the Land Conservancy is all about.
Sure. Well, the Land Conservancy protects land in our region in a number of different ways, through ownership and management, but also through assisting other governments to make land accessible for the public, and then through conservation easements on private land.
All right, we're out here at Maple Bay Farm, and in September, you're doing a twilight tour talking about pollinators. Can you explain this?
Sure. Well, the Conservancy has now taken on a little bit more land stewardship on farms, and so we own 2 farms, and Maple Bay is one of those. Out here, we're hoping to install this fall or next spring some pollinator habitat. We're using all Michigan native species, and we're partnering with the American Farmland Trust on a larger project outside of this farm, but we're participating here in installing some in an organic protocol that we'd like to see if we can pull off and have it be successful.
All right, so when you talk about pollinators, are we talking about bees, just bees, or what are we talking about here?
Yeah, so we're talking about pollinating insects. So we're planning the habitat for the pollinating insects. So it's primarily we're looking at things like the honeybees, but also the native pollinators. Okay. So we're looking at things like native bees, but also moths and other insects too. That will pollinate plants.
All right, so what I'm hearing you say, and believe it or not, I didn't know this, moths pollinate?
Sure, yeah, lots of different insects pollinate.
Should I stop killing the moths then?
Sure.
I've been getting yelled at all morning on various levels about things that I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing. So this is a critical thing for all of us, because without pollination, we're doomed.
Yeah, it's really important too. And as the Conservancy looks at ways to help, with farmland protection, besides just protecting the land, one of the things that we think we can help with is helping to establish pollinator habitat that supports the farmers and their ability to, be economically viable.
Yeah, you were talking about this before we turned on the camera about working with farmers to maybe put in pollinator habitats on their farms and pay them for that, right?
Yeah, I've had a great opportunity for the Conservancy to partner with the American Farmland Trust on a project where we're reaching out to local farmers who have protected their lands and offering to help to install pollinator habitat, and also to then provide those local seeds that we've that seed mix that we've established, and then pay them pollinator habitat credits, which is sort of like a pollination, like an ecosystem service credit for pollination. So those farmers would receive annual payments for maintaining that habitat.
All right, so someone's watching this right now and go, well, wait a minute, couldn't I do a pollinator habitat at my house?
Well, you can do it at your house, and you can do it on your farmland, and it's basically the same thing. On smaller scale, it's a little bit easier. You can use different methods, but we're talking more agricultural scale, so 2 acres and up.
All right, so what are we talking about? Let's say Vic McCarty wants to do a pollinator habitat at his house. Where do I start? What do I do?
Well, first you have to site it. You have to figure out a good spot to have the habitat. Right. So you don't want it too close to a road, too close to conflict with people. And then the next thing you want to do is to establish the site conditions. So if you have a weedy field or you have an old field condition, you're going to have to suppress some of the weeds. And there's a number of different ways to do that. But on a small scale, you can do that with black plastic. You can solarize
just
the ground.
It up.
Kill what's there, and then reestablish new vegetation that you...
Or use Roundup. Just kidding. I was just a joke.
Well, sprays are also a method, and it's fairly conventionally used for establishing pollinator habitat. The thought being that that although it's a way to kill the vegetation using an herbicide, it also establishes good habitat that in the long run won't require that type of management.
We have very few seconds left, but you want to do a quick hail of the victors. Went to Michigan State. I just set them up. Thank you.
Thanks.
Talking about pollination, I'm Vic McCarty for My News 26 and My TV 12.